25th Annual Capital Conference Virtual Edition. It is our goal that each session is about an hour in length. However, we may go a little bit longer or shorter. This session is UIL A+ Basics and Q&A presented by myself, Lisa Parker. So here is my contact information, if you don't already have it. I do like to start any presentation that I give for UIL by just giving a little bit of background information. So prior to working at UIL, I was a classroom teacher, and then I went back to school to be a librarian. However, I do know that every single day I approach my job at UIL with teachers in mind. I like to be an advocate for educators. It's definitely one of the greatest joys of my job is to feel like that I've assisted an educator and not made your job more difficult. Many of the improvements and changes to A+ documents and procedures have come about after receiving direct feedback from you. So I do encourage you to reach out to me when you have a moment to share how we can assist you and make your job working with UIL A+ academics easier and also more enjoyable. So please feel free to anytime if you have any kind of suggestion, whenever it's feasible and it would improve the program, we're happy to make that change. This presentation is geared towards those who are pretty new to the UIL A+ program. However, I do see some of these names and I am familiar with you, and so I think that some of those basics might not be so applicable to what you are needing. So I am going to start this presentation by going over the updates to A+ academics, if you're not aware of those. So for anybody, if you're new or old to the program, that's going to be helpful. Then I'll jump into some basics of A+ academics. I'm going to go over 9 frequently asked questions, and then I'll end the presentation with time to answer your questions. And any questions that we might not get to today, I'm always happy to do another Zoom with you or be on the phone with you or answer any kind of email that you might have. So that is how this is going to go. Oh, didn't have that up there. I'm so sorry. That was my contact information. Let me just put that up there for a second. So you've got my email address, also a+@uiltexas.org. I'm going to also see emails sent to that address as well. And that is the UIL office phone number. So if you call that number, and then you can get to me through that one. And even though we're not in the office right now, we are still able to receive calls. So that is how you can get in contact with me. All right, I'm going to go through the updates. And I think really the first 2 might be news to people who have already worked with A+ before, and also, of course, beginners. So there's going to be a major change to the science event. So starting this school year, the science event, which was Science 1 and Science 2, is being combined and will now just be one science event for A+. The reasons for those changes to make it align with the other STEM-related contests for middle school students, like calculator applications and mathematics. So basically, there's going to be one science test created for students in grades 6, 7, and 8. There is going to be approximately 50 questions on that test, approximately 15 for each grade level based on TEKS and state adopted textbooks for each of those grade levels, in addition to 5 wildcard or general questions. So that will be something that you will see for this school year. There was many reasons for that change besides aligning it to the other STEM related contests in middle school. It is also going to allow, hopefully, for more students to compete in science. Prior to this change, there was not a division for 6th graders to compete. So now the 6th graders can compete, and a 7th grader and an 8th grader. So the students can compete in the science event really 3 times as opposed to 2, like it was before. So that was a major change. The art event is going to be a little bit different this school year. So generally we have 40 paintings on that list. This school year, there are only going to be 30 paintings for students to study. And this is something that I would like to kind of feel out to see how it works for this school year. This is an example of where we received feedback from coaches coordinators meet directors about the art contest, and this was one of the suggestions to make the contest a little better for students to prepare. So we'll see how that goes, and I welcome any kind of feedback that you might have for that. As far as the art list for this upcoming school year, it is in its final stage of completion, and I will be posting that on the A+ art page here in the very near future. And again, you'll just see that it's going to have 30 pieces and not 40. So we'll see how that goes. Music memory, and this is something that happens every school year, but that is a list that is created specific for a school year. So it's updated, and it was posted towards the end of last school year. So if you are having students compete in music memory, which is grades 2 through 8, you can go ahead and see what pieces are going to be on that list. As far as the study material for music memory, that is in also its final stages of completion. So really soon this summer, you're going to see a Spotify playlist where students can access the music for free if they have an account. You're also going to have links to Spotify and iTunes to purchase those selections if you want to actually own those files and not stream them. So that's what's happening with music memory. One thing I did want to point out, if you participated in music memory at a district competition last school year, we had technical difficulties with our CD burner, and we did not ship out CDs. And I foresee that being a similar thing this school year. So we will still be able to ship out, if you would like, printed district meet materials. You also always have the option for just digital files. But as far as music memory goes, I don't see us going back to being able to create those CDs for music memory. So what would happen is the music memory files would be a part of your district digital files. And so you would have those files either to play from a device or also burn to a CD. So that's a change with music memory. Modern oratory, that is something that happens every school year. The topics are updated. So we've got 5 topics that will be posted in the next 2 weeks. And that will be posted on the A+ Modern Oratory webpage. Social studies is an event that is updated every school year with the outlines that the test writer uses to create those tests. Those are already posted on the A+ social studies page. So if you have students participating in that event, you'll want to go ahead and just download those outlines. And it also has some ways that you can prepare for the social studies event. It's listed on those outlines. Spelling is an event that is updated every school year. There is a free booklet that is posted on the A+ spelling page. You can go ahead and download the spelling booklet. That is good to go for the school year. So that is it as far as updates that I can think to share. I did want to open it up just for a moment before I move on to the basics. If there was any questions directly related to any of these updates, please feel free to just unmute yourself and let me know. It doesn't appear like there are any questions, but if something comes to you about any of that, please let us know in that chat box, or also towards the end. I can get to any of those questions or concerns. All right, so for the basics of an A+ academic program, I have kind of chunked it into these different categories. We'll look at membership, how you join UIL A+ academics. We'll look at how A+ districts are formed. We'll take a look at the events that we offer. We'll look at the calendar, and then we'll end with the study materials and where you can get those. Membership. So basic general question about how do you join UIL A+ academics. Most of your membership payments are covered because you are in an ISD where a high school is participating in UIL academics or athletics. So they have to pay a membership fee to UIL. So if you're in an ISD that has a high school that is already participating, your campus does not owe a membership payment to UIL. If you're in a district where you do not have a high school that participates, then send me an email, let me know what's going on, and I will get you in touch with the person who can coordinate that membership payment, which is good for 1 school year. Next, so really important for membership is once you have that membership payment covered, either by the high school or by paying that your campus yourself, then you need to go ahead and register for A+ academics. Our deadline for registration happens every school year around the same time. It's always going to be around mid-November. So kind of keep that date in mind. We do need to know if you are participating. It's important to note that even when you register your participation, it does not bind you to participating in a certain way. So it doesn't mean that you're going to compete for sure. I hope that you do, but it doesn't bind you to anything. It's just saying that you're interested, you're having students practice, you're interacting with UIL A+ academics in some way, and we want to know about it. So please make sure that you register, and I will go through about how you can do registration in just a little bit. Some of you are in campuses that are brand new this school year, and so if you are, you will not be able to use our registration system because you won't be listed in our directory. So if your campus is new this school year, go ahead and send me an email at aplus@uiltexas.org with the ISD and school name, and then I can put your campus into our system, and then you'd be able to finish the registration process. Districts. This is a common question around UIL A+ academics, and in my mind, it is the main distinction between A+ academics and high school academics. Basically, we have district alignments for high school, and they are binding only for high school. They do not apply to elementary, middle school, and junior high campuses. You are not assigned to a specific district and/or conference. So it's kind of cool. It does leave you the ability to create your own A+ district depending on logistics and what you would like to do. Our contest rules will say if you would like to create your own competing A+ district that it does require 3 campuses to do so. So feel free to reach out to other campuses in your own ISD. A lot of times that does happen for campuses who are in like a larger school district. They will reach out to schools that feed into the same high school and create their own A+ district that way. If you're in a small rural area, you could, or even if you're in a big city, it doesn't matter. You can reach out to campuses in another ISD, in another town, really whatever works best for you. So that is how districts work for A+, very different from high school, and that we are not assigning you to competing with certain campuses. I think I get some questions around districts also, so I'm gonna go ahead and just address this. So say you are in a district, you've been competing with the same campuses. The next school year, your campus has decided that you would like to switch districts. That is okay to do. What you want to make sure though is just communicate that decision to compete with different schools so that the schools you competed with before are not expecting your campus to join in. So it's not something that you have to contact our office to let us know. We will ultimately find out if your campus is competing in a district meet, what district that you're in, but it is totally fine if you decide, you know what, actually it works better for us to compete with this new campus that's closer to us. You can definitely decide what works best for you. I also get the question, how many campuses, would be like the maximum number for schools to participate in a district meet. There is not like a cutoff for that. I see a lot of district meets, I would say, that contain somewhere, between 5 and 8 or 9 schools at a district meet. It really just depends on the logistics and where you're going to host that event and how much, you're able to take on, and hopefully you and a group of other people, if you are a district meet director. So there also is not a cutoff for how many campuses, but you're really just going to think about logistics and how that works. For all of the A+ events and how many contestants can compete in an event, it's going to be 3 students per division per event. Except for art and music memory, those events allow for up to 5 contestants per division. And what I mean by that is our materials are grouped into like chunks of grades. So music memory, for example, there is a music memory test for second graders. There's also a music memory test for third and fourth graders. The third and fourth graders take the same test. Depending on how many students you have at your campus and in your district who want to participate, you might end up deciding to group those third and fourth graders together and have them compete against each other. Or ideally, in my mind, you would divide those up into 2 divisions and have third graders competing against third graders and fourth graders competing against fourth graders. And in doing so, allowing more students to compete. But that is how district competition works. Different than invitational meets where there are no limitations for how many students can compete. An invitational is more like a practice meet. I'm going to move along from districts. These are the events that we have available. Basically, there are 20 different events that span grade levels 2 through 8th grade. I'm not going to list them all, but they are kind of divided up into different categories. So at the very top, you're going to see kind of STEM related and also some general A+ events. Well, and also we've got chess, dictionary skills, listening, social studies, spelling, maps, graphs, charts. Moving down, we've got some writing events that are available for students. Creative writing, one of the earliest events that students can participate in. Editorial, middle school. Ready writing is elementary through middle school. We've got some arts, art and music memory, fine arts, got some performing arts, 1-act play. And at the very bottom are the speaking events. And storytelling is, again, like creative writing, one of those first events that students can compete in, one of my favorites. It's a really amazing event. So this is what we offer. And again, like I said earlier, when your campus decides that you would like to participate in A+ academics, it does not bind you to participating in a certain number of events. If you are beginning an A+ program, generally what I see happening is a coordinator will decide, to begin with a few events and then year after year, just gradually adding more events as your program builds. It has been recommended from some A+ pros to somewhat start with like the writing events, seem like an easier event to kind of start your way with A+ academics, and also the spelling event, I've been told, is an easy one to start as you begin to kind of get your feet wet with A+ academics. But again, it's really up to you and what you're able and interested in taking on. These events do span the curriculum. As you saw, they are designed to complement what students are learning in the classroom and also expand upon it. They learn specific subject knowledge and also some skills that are valuable in many disciplines. I will also say, so a document that was added last school year, and you're going to find it on the UIL A+ homepage. You're going to find a document that lists how the events correlate to the TEKS. So if there's anybody out here that needs to share that with an administrator, that was something that was created. It was already done for high school, but recently done for A+ academics. So you can actually list out the TEKS that are applicable to our A+ events. The calendar, and you've got the URL on the bottom right-hand corner of this page. And honestly, the calendar is, in my opinion, one of the most helpful resources whenever you are working on your A+ program. I like it because it lists out the to-dos. If you are participating in A+ academics, you're also going to have links to the different forms that you might need to submit. So if you're kind of wondering, like, how are we going to plan? When are we going to host our meet? When do we need to order our materials? The calendar kind of lays it out for you. I like with A+ also because the dates are not going to change that much from year to year. So always beginning late May, you're going to be able to go onto the A+ homepage and register your campus. So that link is available. If you are interested in participating, you can go ahead and let us know. If you're going to be participating in a district meet that happens in the fall, which for A+, we count that as November and December, we recommend that you have a planning meeting with all the campuses who are going to be involved at that district competition to get ready for that event. And we ask that you have that kind of late August, early September. And I am going to go through these dates because I feel like it's pretty relevant. So sorry if this is not the most interesting, but I just want to point out a few things. September 22nd, there is a deadline for submitting your district meet form if you are hosting in the fall. So fall, winter, November, or December. And that is a form where basically you let us know what events you believe students are going to be participating. You give us like an estimate for the contestant numbers. You also let us know where that event is being held. This is a form that would only be completed by the district meet director. So it wouldn't be completed by each individual school coordinator, but just the person who is in charge of hosting the meet. You are able to tell us if you want print materials or if you want digital files. And in the last couple of years, from a recommendation from a teacher, even if you request print materials, I'm also going to send you the digital files. So if closer to your meet date, you need additional files, you're going to have access to those meet materials. So even if you say print, you're still going to get digital as a backup. November 1 is the first date that you can host an invitational meet. There is a page found through A+ Academics where if you click on, I believe it's meets, it will show you the difference between a district meet and an invitational meet. I am just going to kind of vaguely just give you a general description that an invitational meet generally are for people who are having a practice meet to prepare for that district meet. There are many A+ districts that also use that invitational meet as a qualifying meet to see who can participate at the district level, which I think is a pretty awesome thing to do, pretty fair way to see like which students are going to participate at the district level. So one way to do it. Invitational meets can be hosted through April 1. The next deadline, November 19th this year, is a recommendation for when we're saying we hope that you have had an organizational meet if you are hosting a spring district meet. Those are going to happen from February 1, I believe, this year, through about the end of May. An important point I'm going to talk about is basically that a student, a school can participate in one UIL A+ district meet a school year. So you're either going to participate in a fall winter district meet or you're going to participate in a spring district meet, but you wouldn't be participating in two district meets. There is no limitation to the number of invitational meets that a student may participate in. However, if you do use UIL invitational meet materials, we only create one set of invitational meet materials per school year. So you would only want your students to participate in one UIL invitational meet. Let's see, also on November 19th, an important day, if you are participating in UIL A+ Academics, you're going to want to submit your registration form to us by November 19th. And also submit the district meet information and materials order form if your students are participating in a spring district meet. And again, that's just that form that the district meet director would submit to our office. If you look on our webpage, A+ Academics, you're actually going to be able to access a calendar that gets populated when a district meet order goes through. So if you're curious to see who is participating at your local level, kind of close to you, there's a calendar that is populated by that form. I think already for the summer, we have like 3 of them in the system. In a normal school year, we end up having around 400 of those forms. It gets cleared out towards the end of the school year, but I can always look in our archives if you're wondering like who participated, 2 school years in our area. I can look through that information for you. So please shoot me an email and I'll happy to look that up for you. December 1, fall winter district meets. That's whenever those materials can be used. Those deadlines or dates are important as far as keeping the materials confidential. So we do ask that you hold on to those district meet materials until December 1. January 29th, the last day that you could host a fall winter district meet, is also whenever, if you participated in a fall winter district meet, you could return those meet materials to the schools that participated so students can see a little more closely how they did. February 1. If your students are participating in A+ spring district meet, that's whenever those materials can be used. April 1, that's the end of the invitational meet material timeline. So then if you had students participate in invitational, that would be the first date that you could return those meet materials to students or to schools. May 21 would be the first day to return the spring district meet materials. And then that last thing, deadline to submit academic district participation summary. This is the only form that our office needs at the conclusion of your district meet. We don't need it for invitational meets, but we do ask it for district meets. We do not require that you let us know how students did. We don't need to know the results of the events. This is just a form where basically you list the contestant numbers for all of the different events. And also if you did decide to do a district champion, you could let us know who that was, and also offer feedback for how the meet materials went, any kind of suggestions that you have. And again, we look at all those suggestions closely and implement those changes as possible. So you don't have to submit your results, but you do need to let us know how many students actually competed. So that is the only form that we need at the conclusion of your meet. We also don't want or need those meet materials. You keep those in a safe place until you can release them back to the schools that participated. Thank you for bearing with me through that. I just feel like those dates are pretty significant. Study materials, also really significant. There's a few different ways that you can stock up on your study materials. We try to post as many free digital downloads on the A+ webpage as possible. You're going to find many of those downloads on the individual event web pages. So if you were to go to UIL A+ Academics, click on events, it's going to list the 20 different events. Click on the individual ones listed on the right-hand side. There's going to be the downloads for free for those events. I believe chess is one that also has some resources towards the bottom, some web pages that have been recommended to help students prepare for that event. So highly recommend taking a look at the individual event web pages before you start purchasing some materials. Also, the A+ handbook is going to have a section that lists out in hyperlinks. It will take you directly to where you can either purchase or download some materials for free. So once you get that handbook, which is being worked on this summer and will be available towards the beginning of August, once you have registered your campus as participating in UIL, then you're in our system, and that we will know that in early August, you're going to receive an email from us. Well, it'll have a link where you can download the A+ handbook. So that is where you're going to get that handbook. Also, the UIL store, if you were to go to uiltexas.org, in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, I believe it says shop or online store, one of the two, click on that, and there is a section of the store that says A+ Academics grades 2 through 8. So that is a section of the store directly geared towards A+ Academics. You're going to be able to purchase previous year's tests, and they are divided into the different events that don't change each year. So like you're not going to see, of course, like spelling tests aren't going to be there, music memory, but you're going to see like the science test, the math test, number sense, those types of events. And you can purchase an entire year's worth of tests for $4. It's going to have tests and keys for all of the events. You would just need to purchase one copy, and then you could make copies that you need from that one file. There's also going to be a couple booklets that are being finalized that are going to have a combination of the events into one booklet. So if that was more feasible, you could do it that way. We're going to have the Music Memory Passport, which is the music memory resource created for UIL by UIL, and that will be on the store, and that's a digital download. The Art Smart Bulletin for the first time this school year is going to be a digital download. So that will be available closer to the start of the school year. But that is one way to get some practice materials. Another way is by going to UIL A+ Academics and clicking on additional resources. There are going to be some other ways for you to get some study materials by looking through who is offering different items that are correlated to our events. So that is study materials. A lot of times or especially towards the beginning of the school year, when there's somebody new to A+ academics, they're really wondering like, what study materials should I get? I'm happy to talk to you on the phone or do a Zoom and kind of point out individually some things. So if it seems confusing to you at all, please just let me know and I'm happy to assist that way. I can let you know which materials, get updated every school year or which ones are the same from previous school years so that you don't need to purchase it one time. But that's that. That is kind of the overview basics of the A+ program. Moving along, I have some responses from some pros who have worked with A+ academics for many years. Some of them, these are 2 responses, and I think at least one of these people did register for this session, so thank you so much if you're on the session. But I did ask them, you've had a lot of success working with A+ academics, so can you please share what you have learned with people who might be new to the program? So I'm just going to go over this real quick. The biggest piece of advice I can offer a new UIL coordinator: stay organized from the start. From the day that you're going to take this role on, maintain a calendar and share that calendar with your coaches. So if you are in charge of the A+ program at your campus, that calendar is very important, staying organized. The biggest piece of advice I can offer a UIL coordinator who is hosting a meet: enlist your coaches to help organize, keep your administration aware about what you're doing from the very start of the year, and give them regular reminders. I'm going to move beyond that response just a little bit, and actually kind of goes into the next one too. But the main reasons why I believe my A+ program is successful is delegation. Super important to be successful with A+ academics. Person's not superhuman, none of us are. Start early with recruiting coaches and scheduling your regular practices. If you look at our contest rules, we do not limit who may help you with your A+ program beyond the high school 1-act play. It says a specific person can do that, but for A+ academics, you can have people in your community, other people in your school, also assist you with your program. If they're going to be a coach, they're going to help you organize that meet, they're going to help you actually work at the district meet. We don't have any kind of limitations about that. It might be a local policy that you have in place that you're going to want to check with to make sure that you're in line with what your ISD allows. But definitely have heard lots of success stories of people finding those around them to help assist at their district competition or just with practices with students. A great way to encourage students to participate is advertising, posting your winners for all to see, displaying, the awards that the students receive for participating, and then offering incentives. Food is a big one, I hear. So really anything that you can do to encourage that student participation would be great. So same questions posed to another pro, talks about time management. Check the district, the school, and your personal calendar before you schedule anything. The biggest piece of advice, if you are hosting a meet, is touring the school and mapping out the logistics of the meet. Make sure the classrooms that you have reserved match the need of the contest. So super important that you walk through that campus and see that what is there is what you need. The main reasons why I believe my A+ program is successful: so they have enough information to plan, and also receiving feedback from those who participated at that competition, or also the coordinators from each of the campuses. A great way to encourage students to participate is by advertising, creating a UIL bulletin board for students to see who are participating or just others who are walking the halls. So I thought those were pretty cool ideas from some people who were doing very well. I'm going to move along to the frequently asked questions, and then we'll end the presentation with some time for you to ask me your questions. So one common question: are there any restrictions about which events students may enter? And this is in reference to district competition. There are going to be some schedule restrictions just inherent in how the day goes. In the A+ handbook conflict map of a way that you can organize your meet as far as the times for the different events. So this would be something that you could figure out in that planning meeting, so that before students commit to practicing for an event, if they already know ahead of time that once they get to that competition, they can participate in the 2 events that they would like to, because they're not going to conflict with time. That would be very good information for that student and parent to know. So there's going to be some restrictions though in that meet schedule possibly. At district meets, students are limited to a maximum of 2 speaking events. So that is one of the main limitations. I crossed out that last limitation for those who have worked with A+ before. There used to be that limitation about how much eligibility a student had in the science contest. That's gone. You could now have a student participate in science as a 6th grader, 7th grader, and an 8th grader. So that limitation is now gone. Okay, purchasing study material from the UIL store, you do need to create an account or check out as a guest. If you have any questions about your order, this would be the email to use, or also there's a phone number, and then you would ask to speak with the business office. You can send, these questions to me. I just have somewhat of a limited ability to look into the status of your order. So if you did purchase something from UIL, really the people to talk to are the business office. I can help you for sure with those district meet materials, because I didn't mention this before. District meet materials are provided for free. So you don't have to pay for district meet materials. So if you are in the process of requesting those materials, you have any questions about, what you need to order or when those materials are going to arrive, I'm the person to contact for that. Invitational meet materials do cost money. So if you purchase invitational meet materials, which will be available to look at soon in the summer in the UIL store, you'll want to contact the business office if you have any questions about that order. All right. How do you get meet material after the deadlines? So again, I'm approaching this position as somebody who's been in the classroom before, and I understand, I hope still, how much you have on your plate. So I understand if you miss that deadline, and I'm going to do everything I possibly can to get you what you need. And it makes it very simple now that we have the digital files. So don't feel that if you miss a deadline that now you can't host that competition. I will definitely help you, and get you what you need. So there's my email address. There's a phone number. Just let me know. It will be difficult for us to ship you print materials after the deadline, because we do send those materials outside our office for those copies to get made. But I will always be able to send you those digital files. So don't feel bad. Just let me know what you need. All right, if you underestimated the number of materials for your district meet, what should you do? So a lot of times when you're filling out that district meet information and materials order form, you're giving the estimates of the contestants that are participating. And then, come to find out, maybe you allow 2 more campuses to participate, so you need more meet material. For one, if you requested print materials, those materials are shipped out in packets of 30. So even if you told us, you only are having 18 students participate in modern oratory, we're still going to send you a packet that includes enough materials for 30 contestants. So you might already just by default have the materials that you need. However, you could also make copies. It is okay for that meet director or designated person who's going to make sure those materials stay confidential to make the copies that he or she needs. And also keeping in mind that I will be sending you the link where you can download the meet files. So you can easily, hopefully, make the copies that you need if necessary. So there are a couple of events that we offer that do require an outside resource for students to complete those events. So looking at maps, graphs, and charts, and also dictionary. If you take a look at the responses to these questions, so what atlas is needed, we use the Nystrom Desk Atlas version, copyrights 2008 and newer, which ends up being a few different versions, maybe like 4 of them or so. This note says that we are going to transition using the 2018 version eventually. I am really not in a big rush to do this. I understand that school budgets are not the best right now, especially. So I don't see a reason to go ahead and push for that change. So especially for this, I mean, this school year, the tests are being made, the invitational ones have already been created, and they are using, all those different copyrights of that atlas. So if you are in a district that has some money and you would like to purchase the atlas, yes, I'd recommend getting that 2018 version. But if you have that 2008 version or newer leading up to 2018, the tests are still going to be workable using any of those copyrights. Same with dictionary. On the website, it will tell you those 3 different copyrights will work. So, and really, I kind of peered closely at the differences between the last 2 copyrights. I'm not seeing a whole lot of differences, but still, whenever those tests get created, we're looking at all of those 3 copyrights to make sure the test questions can be answered. Students are not required to use these resources as they take the tests, but these are the resources that are used when the tests are created. So something to keep in mind. Okay, this is a common question. Can a student compete up 1 grade level? Yes, they can. So the rules for A+ elementary and middle school competition, they do allow students to compete 1 grade level higher than one in which they are enrolled. Another question related to this. So say you have a student who competed, they're 4th grader, they competed in 5th grade music memory, which is more challenging. Do they have to compete in 5th grade? Well, one that's coming to mind right now is social studies. They do not. They get to, it's by an event basis. So they can compete, possibly 1 grade level higher in one event and then compete at grade level for all the other events. So there is some flexibility in that. Also important related to this is that a student must continue to represent the campus that he or she attends. So you could not have a 6th grade student on an elementary campus compete up with 7th graders who are on a different campus. So the students can compete up a grade level, but they have to continue to represent his or her own school. Important. A couple more of these, and then we'll move on to the question and answer session with you. And I touched on this earlier. So who can coach a UL A+ event? We don't limit who can help you. So this is where I highly recommend that you hopefully have some other people close to you who are interested in assisting at your A+ program. If they're going to serve as coaches, if they're going to help you host a meet, whatever it might be, you can have outside help from your school, from your community. People who have expertise in these different events would be great to bring them in. Just depends on your local school district policy. Related to this, stipends, which I hope are offered to you, those are local decisions and they vary. By school, there's not a certain amount that is required. It's going to be your local decision to see what you're able to do. Last one, I believe, are there limits to the awards a student may receive? The response that I prepared for this question because I don't want to tell you the wrong response. So limits to the awards. Okay, the awards are given by a student's home school to recognize participation in UIL activities. This does not refer to medals, trophies, etc. that students receive at a competition. There is a general rule of thumb. Awards from the school cannot be given on the basis of winning a competition. So kind of keep that in mind. A t-shirt does not really seem to constitute an award. However, they do fall under the awards rule for students in grades 7 through 8. Kind of keep that in mind. There is not a awards rule for students in K through 6. And 7 through 8, you've got the $10 per year limit. One way we look at this though is so if you are providing or your students in 7th and 8th do have that t-shirt, if they wear that t-shirt for the entire school year, what is that t-shirt worth at the end of the school year? Might not be worth a whole lot. So it's one way to look at it. A common question, you can provide meals for your students at meets, even if you are the host school. UIL banquets, pizza parties, etc. are fine and a good idea, provided everybody is included and not just the students who won. Yeah, what you can't do is single out the kids who won first at the district meet and take them out for a steak dinner. So that is how that is going to work. Screenshot of art taken from the A+ handbook. And like I said earlier, a digital copy of this handbook will be sent to the people who register in early August. If you don't register until October, then you'll get that message in October, and it will just contain a link where you can download the current A+ handbook. The reason why I wanted to have this page on here is just to point out, when you're looking at this, some people think that just the information on the left, so say for art event, are the contest rules. However, there's a fly in front of me, sorry. All of the information in the A+ handbook carries the same weight. So if you're looking over here, and this was a change that came about because a coach recommended this, the contest administration script, the information contained in the script actually contains contest rules. So you want to go ahead and take a look at that script to see what it says. It will have information about time limits. It will have some information about materials that students can use. So I do recommend, highly recommend, that you take a look at that script to see what is included in that. It's not, the information in it is not optional. It is optional that you use the contest script. So if you're somebody who's hosted an event for many years and you don't need something to read off of when you're in front of the students giving that event, you don't have to use it, but you can. If you don't use it, just know that there are some rules in there. Oh, a recommendation given earlier this summer was that the scripts be part of the digital files for A+ district meet materials. So that is going to be something that you'll see. It'll be different if you request the digital files. If you request print, I will still include those scripts. You'll just get it a little bit closer to your meet. So if you wanted to just print out those contest scripts and not print from the A+ handbook, you will have the ability to do so. So that is what the handbook looks like. Question and answer. I'm going to go ahead before maybe we open it up to people shouting out. I'm going to take a look at the chat and just see if there are any questions I can address to the group. Okay, I'm going to read the question from Leanne Spears. Let's see. I'm going to maybe wait on that one. Looks like maybe something to do later. Okay. Julie's question, the science contest previously was just a grade 7 through 8 contest, and it's added for 6th grade this year. That is correct. Science now is going to be one test that can be given to students in 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. So yes, specifically includes 6th graders in that event, and they can compete 3 years if they choose to do so. Like the comment about, yeah, the virtual meets. Yeah, so last school year, we were able to offer that option because of the health situation for schools to participate a little bit differently. So that was something that was allowed last school year. And then as far as virtual meets for this school year, there's some virtual like practice meets that are an option right now. If you want to, take a look at that, I hope that might be helpful. And still, always considering the idea of possibility of virtual meets. I like it. Let's see. When did I say the new handbook will be completed? So it's in progress, and for sure by early August, it's going to go out to anybody who is already registered. You'll receive an email with a link where you can download the handbook. Okay, Maria, the storytelling session we can see at our own time. Maria, do you mind clarifying that question for me? I want to make sure I answer it correctly.
Let me unmute myself.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, so I see on the schedules that you've provided us saying something regarding, let me see where I can pull it up here. It says, it's towards the very bottom. It's on the PDF file. If I'm not mistaken. Okay, so it says week June 28th through the 30th. And then it has Tuesday, June 29th. Okay, then July 26th through the 30th. Is it that one? I already lost my spot here. Okay, there. It says pre-recorded sessions.
Oh, okay.
So those, we can see them at our own time then?
Yes.
We don't have to be logging on like with somebody.
Correct.
Okay. Just, that was my only question then.
Yep, great question. Yep, Maria's talking about those pre-recorded sessions. So storytelling is one where you can watch it at your own time when it works for you. Yes, thank you for that. Okay, the elementary school includes pre-K to 8th grade. Can we have 5th graders move up to compete in 6th grade events? I believe so. Yeah, it's one campus. I don't see why not. Good question. Let me see. It looks like that's what I have in the chat right now. Would anybody else like to jump out and let me know your question? While you're thinking about maybe something that you're wondering about, one thing I like to think about with A+, one reason why I really enjoy working with it is that it is a pretty flexible program as far as you get to choose, the dates of competition, the campuses that you are participating with, the events that you're going to host. So I see that as a plus. I also know that does require, a lot of advanced planning and figuring out and organizing, but I do hope that you will also kind of see it as a way, to participate in UIL in the way that works for you. So in many of the decisions that you think might come from the state office or a lot of times like local decisions, you just want to make sure that you're following the contest rules at the district competitions. So as long as you're doing that, be in good shape. Okay, I'm gonna look at another question. Okay, coordinating an event for the entire ISD, 47 elementary schools and 12 middle schools. Do I have every participating school registered? Yes, please. I know that's a lot and that's amazing. I love those numbers, but yes, each individual campus would need to register for A+ academics. The part where it would become hopefully a little bit more manageable is just whenever you're having that district competition, it's just going to be, one form basically for that district event and not each individual campus needing to submit that. Okay, and back to the students competing in different grade levels. If a student competes at a 6th grade level as 5th grade, can they compete at the 6th grade level the next year when they're in 6th grade? Yes, they can. There's not a limitation anymore. There was just one limitation with science, but that's gone. So yes, you could have a student who competed in an event and then the following year compete in that same grade level event. That would be fine, as long as they are representing his or her campus. Someone's, let's see, raising your hand. Let me see, do I need to maybe unmute? Okay.
So
Katie?
I just have one question. Due to the sheer numbers, I mean, I could potentially have 2,820 kids at the elementary level. I may have to divide those up into separate, I'm going to have to divide those into separate events. So if I do 3 different events, then I would do one form for each one of those events, right? Or just one form for all the district?
That's how I would do it. I would divide it up. You're not mandated, whatever makes the most sense for you. But if it is going to be 3 different events happening, then it would make sense to have a form for each of those events.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me see if I have anything else. Okay. This might be a good place to stop that recording, but I do want to just address everybody one more time. So you've got my email address right here. Someone did mention the pre-recorded sessions for A+. You can access those from the Capitol Conference webpage. On the right-hand side, there'll be I think it's a red button that'll take you to the UIL's YouTube channel, so you can actually view the other A+ sessions. Many of those are for the events that don't change year to year. So if you want to take a look, if you're coaching a specific event and find out more information about it, that's where you're going to be able to access those sessions. I'm also, thank you, Glenda, for including that link. That's in the chat box. Of course, I'm working through the summer, so I am also very happy to answer any questions that you have. You've got my email address. I do want to say thank you to everybody so much for what you do and for coming today, listening to this session. Just know, please, that you've got somebody at UIL. I appreciate you.